Good morning. It is a beautiful day. I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful for another day to build. My name is Shannon, and this is the beginning of Discipline over Motivation Reflections. This podcast is not about hype, not about loud motivation, not about perfect routines. It's about discipline, faith, consistency, and rebuilding life one day at a time, calmly, honestly, and intentionally. I want to begin this journey with a thought that stayed with me recently. All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you. At first, that line sounds philosophical, almost abstract. But when you reflect deeply, it becomes extremely practical. Because most of our life is shaped internally before it is expressed externally. Before discipline shows in your actions, it is decided in your mind. Before consistency shows in your routine, it is formed in your thoughts. Before peace shows in your life, it is cultivated within. And the same applies to chaos. Distraction begins within, excuses begin within, comfort begins within, doubt begins within. We often think our environment controls our progress, but more often, our internal world controls how we respond to our environment. Two people can face the same situation. One grows stronger, the other drifts. The difference is rarely external, it is internal alignment. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything flows from within. Your discipline, your reactions, your standards, your consistency, even your ability to stay aligned when motivation disappears. And that is why this podcast exists. Not to entertain, not to impress, but to create a space for calm mental alignment in a noisy world. 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because we live in an era of fast content, short clips, quick motivation, temporary inspiration. But deep reflection is rare, and builds clarity. Over the past months, I've been living a more disciplined life, structured routines, mapped days, recovery systems, faith integration, personal non negotiables. From the outside, it may look physical, but internally, it is a mental transformation. Every day begins with internal negotiation. Wake up or delay, execute or procrastinate, stay aligned or drift. And these decisions happen silently within the mind. Romans chapter 12, verse 2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, not by motivation, not by sudden inspiration, but the renewal of your mind consistently. That verse changed how I see discipline. Discipline is not just physical effort, it is mental order. When the mind is scattered, the day becomes scattered. When the mind is clear, the actions become structured. I've personally experienced this shift. Before this discipline journey, I my life was comfortable, less structure, more flexibility, more delay disguised as rest. But internally, there was less clarity, less direction, less peace. Now my life is more demanding, more structured, more intentional. Externally tougher, but internally calmer. Because internal order reduces external chaos. And that brings me back to the opening thought. All the heavens and hells are within you. This does not mean fantasy, it means internal states. Peace can exist even during difficult seasons when the mind is aligned. And chaos can exist even in comfort when the mind lacks direction. Your mindset shapes your daily experience. If your mind is disciplined, your life gains structure. If your mind is distracted, your life becomes reactive. If your mind is grounded in faith, your actions gain purpose. And this podcast will be a space to strengthen that internal alignment. 3 times a week with calm internal reflections. Some episodes will be about discipline, some about pressure, some about recovery, some about faith, and some about mental clarity. But all of them will come from lived experience, not theory. Because I'm not speaking from a place of perfection, I'm documenting a process of rebuilding life through discipline and faith, quietly, consistently, intentionally. Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says, whoever is faithful in little will be faithful in much. And that is the philosophy here: small discipline, consistent alignment, steady renewal, not extreme bursts of motivation, just steady transformation. If even one listener becomes more disciplined, more structured, or more mentally aligned through these reflections, then this podcast has already served its purpose. This is not a dramatic beginning, it is a quiet commitment to show up 3 times a week with clarity, with discipline, with faith, because everything begins within your discipline, your peace, your direction, and your consistency. Guard your mind, renew your thoughts, strengthen your inner world, and your outer life will slowly follow. One reflection at a time, one disciplined step at a time. Welcome to Discipline over Motivation Reflections.